Okay, everybody, so this one's going to be a good 28 minutes at least. So just saddle up.
Medicare. Medicare is a federal health insurance program, administered by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, for people age 65 and older and for certain disabled individuals. Medicare is a Social Security program that covers medical expenses for qualified individuals. Like Social Security, Medicare is funded primarily by payroll taxes. The CMS sets prices for most Medicare-approved medical services. Healthcare providers bill Medicare directly for services rendered to Medicare patients, so patients do not submit claim forms. Medicare benefits are paid directly to the healthcare provider. In this way, Medicare functions like a preferred provider organization, PPO. Medicare coverage overview. Medicare coverage is divided into 4 parts, A, B, C, and D. Parts A and B, called Original Medicare, together provide complete medical coverage. They require deductibles and coinsurance, just like a reimbursement insurance policy. Parts C and D are recent additions to Medicare. They offer a managed care plan option, Part C, and a prescription drug program, Part D. Key point. Part A, hospital insurance, covers inpatient hospital care, skilled nursing home care, post-hospital home health care, and hospice care. Part B, medical insurance, covers physician services, outpatient hospital care, physical therapy, ambulance trips, medical equipment, and some preventive services. Part B supplements Part A coverage. Part C, Medicare Advantage, is a managed care plan alternative to Original Medicare. Provided through commercial insurance companies, this comprehensive plan combines the coverage of Parts A and B and delivers it like a PPO. Part D adds prescription drug coverage to Medicare Parts A and B. It is provided through Medicare-approved commercial insurers. Medicare eligibility. Coverage under Parts A, B, C, and D is available to U.S. citizens and certain permanent residents who meet at least one of the following. Are at least 65 years old. Have received Social Security disability checks for at least 2 years. Have end-stage renal disease, ESRD, a kidney disease requiring a transplant or dialysis. Have amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, or Lou Gehrig's disease. Permanent legal residents must live in the United States for at least 5 years to qualify for Medicare. Key point. The age for Medicare eligibility remains 65 even though Social Security full retirement age, the age at which a person is eligible for full Social Security retirement benefits, is now 66 and is gradually increasing to age 67. Most people who are fully insured, with at least 40 quarters of coverage, or work credits, under Social Security are automatically enrolled in Part A. They pay no premium for Part A coverage. Coverage begins the first day of the month in which they turn 65 years old. If their birthday is on the first day of the month, coverage begins on the first day of the prior month. Those who are not automatically enrolled can enroll during the 7-month period that begins 3 months before they turn age 65, includes the month of their birthday, and ends 3 months after their birthday. Persons who are not fully insured, with at least 40 quarters of coverage, or work credits, under Social Security pay a premium for Medicare Part A coverage. Those with 30 to 39 quarters of coverage pay $274 every month, in 2022. Those with 0 to 29 quarters of coverage pay $499 every month, in 2022. Part B eligibility. Medicare Part B is voluntary and available to anyone who qualifies for Part A. No one may enroll in Medicare Part B if not enrolled in Part A. Unlike Part A, Part B requires a monthly premium. Part C eligibility. Those eligible for Medicare Parts A and B qualify for Part C, Medicare Advantage Plan. They must live in the service area of the managed care plan they select when enrolling in Part C. To enroll in Medicare Part C, a person must first have enrolled in both Parts A and B. That is because Part C is not financed separately. Medicare Advantage enrollees are still responsible for paying their Part B premium to Medicare, and Medicare pays the Medicare Advantage insurer to provide the Part C benefits. Depending on the benefits provided and the insurer providing them, it is possible that the Medicare Advantage enrollee will also have to pay an additional premium to the Medicare Advantage insurer. Part D eligibility. Medicare Part D, prescription drug plan, is available to those covered by Medicare Parts A, B, and C. It is available as a standalone plan. It can also be added to Original Medicare, Parts A and B, or included with Medicare Advantage, Part C. Medicare enrollment. Those who apply for Social Security retirement benefits at age 65 are automatically enrolled in Medicare Parts A and B. Part B requires a monthly premium. Those who do not want Part B coverage must contact the Social Security Administration to opt out. When they become eligible for Original Medicare, Parts A and B, enrollees may instead choose Part C, Medicare Advantage, coverage. A person who wants to enroll in Medicare at age 65 but defers Social Security retirement benefits must take steps to enroll in Medicare. This is because Medicare enrollment is not automatic if done before a person applies for Social Security retirement benefits. Enrollment periods. Initial enrollment period. A person can enroll in Medicare up to 3 months before or up to 3 months after the month the person first becomes eligible for Medicare. For those who are not disabled, this is at age 65. The initial enrollment period, IEP, is a 7-month period that includes the month in which the recipient turns 65. Those who enroll in the last 4 months of their IEP will not have coverage for up to 3 months after their eligibility date. Those who delay enrollment in Medicare Part A may also pay a penalty of 10% of the applicable premium for twice the length of time enrollment was delayed, unless they qualify for enrollment during a special enrollment period. Failure to enroll in Medicare B when a person is first eligible for it, or dropping Medicare Part B and then re-enrolling later, can also incur a late enrollment penalty that is imposed for as long as the person has Medicare. The monthly premium may be increased 10% for each 12-month period that the person was eligible for Part B but delayed enrollment. Enrollment may be deferred while a person has primary coverage under an employer's health plan, due to the person remaining employed at age 65. A person can also defer enrollment without a penalty while covered by an employer-sponsored health plan. General enrollment period. Qualified individuals who did not enroll in Part A or Part B during the IEP when they were first eligible can enroll during a general enrollment period, GEP, between January 1st and March 31st each year. Coverage will begin July 1st. It may be necessary to pay a higher premium for late enrollment. Annual election period. Qualified individuals who want to change Medicare Advantage plans, switch from a traditional Medicare plan to a Medicare Advantage plan, or change Part D prescription drug plans may do so during an annual election period, AEP. The AEP runs from October 15th through December 7th. New coverage becomes effective the following January 1st. Medicare Advantage open enrollment period. Those who want to switch from a Medicare Advantage plan to another Medicare Advantage plan or to Original Medicare and Part D may do so during a Medicare Advantage open enrollment period that runs from January 1st through March 31st each year. Special enrollment period. Individuals who are covered under their employer's medical plan may defer coverage of Medicare Part B until they retire. A special enrollment period, SEP, allows them to sign up for Part B after their IEP without penalty. The SEP is available during the 8-month period that begins the month after employment or group coverage ends, whichever happens first. Those who enroll during INSEP do not pay a late enrollment penalty. Coverage for active workers. Persons over age 65 who continue working and are covered under an employer's medical plan can also be covered under Medicare. Medicare coverage does not affect the amount of their future Social Security benefits. If they file a claim, the employer's plan is usually the primary payer and Medicare is the secondary payer. If the employer has fewer than 20 employees, Medicare usually pays first. Medicare only covers eligible expenses that the group medical plan does not cover. Paying for Medicare. Although Medicare eligibility begins at age 65, Medicare Part A coverage is available without a premium only for those who have reached their Social Security full retirement age, 66 and eventually rising to 67. Those who defer Social Security retirement are eligible for free Part A coverage at age 65, even if they have not reached their full retirement age, Enrollment is not automatic, however, so they must act to enroll. Part A coverage is also free to those under age 65 who have qualified for Social Security disability benefits for at least 2 years, have been diagnosed with permanent kidney failure, end-stage renal disease, or ESRD, or have been diagnosed with ALS. Parts B, C, and D have monthly premiums that may be deducted automatically from one's Social Security retirement benefits. Medicare assignment and participating providers. Medicare assignment is the agreement between a healthcare provider and Medicare. Participating Medicare providers agree to charge no more than Medicare-approved amounts for specific treatments and services. Non-participating providers can also accept assignment on a case-by-case basis. Medicare-eligible individuals who are treated by participating providers pay less for covered services and treatment. Limiting charges and balance billing. Healthcare providers who accept Medicare assignments adhere to Medicare's billing limits and bill the patient up to the amount that Medicare will pay. Healthcare providers who do not accept Medicare assignments may still treat Medicare patients, but they can charge more than Medicare's billing limits. Medicare limits this to 15%, the limiting charge, over what Medicare typically pays for a service or procedure. Medicare then pays up to the typical limit, and the provider will bill the patient for the balance. This is in addition to any coinsurance payment. Example: if Medicare's fee schedule lists a procedure at $1,000, the healthcare provider could bill the patient for up to $1,150. Medicare will pay $1,000 according to its fee schedule. The patient will be billed for $150 in addition to any coinsurance payment. Part A, Hospital Insurance. Medicare Part A is hospital coverage that covers inpatient hospital costs, skilled nursing facility costs, home health care costs, hospice costs. Medicare covers these costs if they are reasonable and medically necessary. Medicare defines medically necessary treatment as that which is needed to prevent, diagnose, or treat an illness, injury, condition, disease, or its symptoms and meets accepted medical standards. Part A benefit period. Medicare Part A covers eligible hospital costs for up to 90 days in any single benefit period. A benefit period ends 60 days after release from the hospital. If a subsequent hospitalization benefit period is separated by at least 60 days from the previous period, a new 90-day benefit period will apply for the subsequent hospitalization. There is no limit to the number of 90-day benefit periods available to Medicare beneficiaries. Medicare beneficiaries have an additional reserve of 60 days. If any single hospitalization benefit period exceeds 90 days, the patient may tap into this reserve. A person only gets one 60-day reserve. A person can draw upon the reserve one day at a time until the 60 days are depleted. Once the reserve is used up, the person must pay for all hospital costs incurred beyond any subsequent 90-day benefit periods. Example: Gwyneth is hospitalized for 90 days. 4 weeks after being discharged, she is hospitalized again, this time for 10 days. Because fewer than 60 days passed between the first hospitalization and the second, both hospitalizations will be treated as occurring within the same benefit period. Medicare Part A will pay for the first 90 days of hospitalization after Gwyneth pays her deductible and coinsurance amounts. She can pay the entire expense of the additional 10 days, or she can draw 10 days from her 60-day lifetime reserve and have Medicare pay some of the expenses after she pays the coinsurance amount. 50 days will remain in her lifetime reserve. Part A deductibles and coinsurance. Before Medicare Part A pays benefits, the Medicare beneficiary must pay a deductible at the beginning of each benefit period. That deductible increases each year. After the deductible is paid, Medicare pays full benefits for the first 60 days of hospitalization. Medicare pays partial benefits for the remaining benefit period, from the 61st day to the 90th day, and the beneficiary pays a daily coinsurance amount. A separate coinsurance amount applies for lifetime reserve coverage. The Part A hospitalization benefit period, deductible, and coinsurance look like this. Days 1 to 60, all eligible hospital costs are covered after the beneficiary pays a deductible, $1,556 in 2022. Days 61 to 90, beneficiary pays a daily coinsurance, $389 in 2022. Medicare pays the daily balance. 60-day lifetime reserve, beneficiary pays a daily coinsurance, $778 in 2022. Medicare pays the daily balance. In summary, a beneficiary can receive up to 150 continuous days of hospital coverage in a single benefit period, if necessary, 90 days of the benefit period plus the one-time 60-day reserve. However, a coinsurance payment requirement begins at day 61 and increases with reserve days. Part A: Skilled Nursing Facility Coverage. In addition to covering hospital services, Medicare Part A covers medically necessary skilled nursing care. It pays the full cost for care in a skilled nursing facility for the first 20 days. Coverage continues beyond the first 20 days, but the patient then pays a coinsurance amount, $194.50 per day in 2022. Medicare benefits are not available for skilled nursing facility care that extends beyond 100 days. For care in a skilled nursing facility to be considered necessary and thereby covered by Medicare, it must meet certain criteria. The care must follow a hospital stay for the same or related condition. Admission to the facility must be within 30 days of the patient's discharge from the hospital. The patient must have been hospitalized for at least 3 days. The following table illustrates how Part A benefits and co-payments apply to benefit periods. Payment amounts are not tested on the state license exam. Please pause the audio and review the table. Part A: Home Health Care Coverage. Medicare Part A also covers home health care services, including part-time or intermittent skilled care, home health aid services, durable medical equipment and supplies, certain other services. No prior hospitalization is required for this coverage. There is no limit on the number of home health care visits. Medicare Part A pays for all approved services. It also pays 80% of the approved amount for durable medical equipment, such as wheelchairs. Part A benefits for hospice care. Part A covers hospice care for terminally ill Medicare beneficiaries who are eligible for benefits under Part A, have been certified by a doctor as terminally ill, with a life expectancy of 6 months or less. Waive other Medicare-covered treatment for terminal illness. Decline other treatment for terminal illness. Covered hospice services include nursing care, medical social services, counseling, short-term inpatient care and respite care, temporary relief for those caring for family members at home, medical appliances and supplies, services of a home health aide, homemaker services, drugs, physical and occupational therapy. The benefit period for hospice care begins with 2 consecutive 90-day periods and may continue with an unlimited number of 60-day extensions. Each benefit period can be extended if the beneficiary is recertified as terminally ill. The hospice benefit has no deductibles. Medicare pays reasonable costs of hospice care. Respite care allows the usual caregiver to rest in a Medicare-approved facility for up to 5 consecutive days at a time. Part B: Medical Insurance. Part B of the Medicare program, available to those with Part A, covers medical care beyond hospitalization. There is no annual out-of-pocket maximum for Part B claims. However, benefit payments can differ when a person receives care from a non-Medicare-approved physician. Part B covers doctor's services, inpatient and outpatient medical and surgical services and supplies, physical and speech therapy, occupational therapy, outpatient diagnostic tests and x-rays, medical supplies, home health care and hospice care not covered under Part A. Part B excludes coverage for. Please pause the audio and review the table. Part B: Premiums and Deductibles. Unlike Part A, which is available without a premium to workers who have reached full retirement age, Part B requires a monthly premium based on the insured's annual income. The insured must also pay an annual deductible, $233 in 2022. Then Part B pays 80% of Medicare-approved health care charges. These charges are based on usual and customary charges in the community where the care is delivered. Medicare beneficiaries submit deductible and co-insurance payments directly to the provider. The provider bills Medicare for its portion of the charges, and Medicare reimburses the provider. If Medicare refuses payment, the beneficiary can appeal the decision to Medicare. Medicare Savings Program. A Medicare Savings Program, MSP, is a state-run program offered in each state that reduces Medicare costs for eligible persons. The program helps persons with limited income and financial resources pay for Medicare Part B premiums. It may also help pay for Medicare deductibles and co-insurance. Eligible persons apply to their appropriate state agency for assistance. 4 Medicare savings programs are available. Qualified Medicare Beneficiary, QMB. Specified Low-Income Medicare Beneficiary, SLMB. Qualifying Individual, QI. Qualified Disabled and Working Individual, QDWI. Persons who qualify for QMB, SLMB, or QI also qualify for assistance in paying for Medicare prescription drug coverage, Part D. Part C, Medicare Advantage. For many years, Medicare Parts A and B made up the entire Medicare program. They are called Original Medicare. In 1997, Medicare was expanded to include Part C, which offers Medicare Parts A and B services through managed care plans, such as HMOs, PPOs, and private fee-for-service plans. Originally called Medicare Plus Choice, Part C is now called Medicare Advantage. Under Medicare Parts A and B, a person chooses a healthcare provider. The provider must be approved by Medicare and agree to accept Medicare's lower reimbursement amounts. Medicare Part C introduced managed care providers, such as HMOs and PPOs, into Medicare. By enrolling in Part C, a person chooses to receive health care from a Medicare-sanctioned HMO or PPO. These managed care providers contract with Medicare to provide services to Medicare beneficiaries for a fixed monthly payment from Medicare. Part C includes the benefits of Parts A and B. Original Medicare may reduce out-of-pocket costs for senior health care, and may offer additional services if needed. These can include optional services and benefits. People who are currently enrolled in Parts A and B can switch to Part C. Private Fee-for-Service Plan. One type of Medicare Advantage plan is the Private Fee-for-Service, PFFS, plan, which is a Medicare-approved private insurance plan. Medicare pays the private plan for traditional Medicare-covered services, and the plan determines which additional services it will cover and what share of expenses the Medicare beneficiary will pay. Special Needs Plan. Another type of Medicare Advantage plan is the Special Needs Plan, SNP. SNPs are available only to individuals who are institutionalized, are dually eligible for both Medicare and Medicaid, have severe or disabling chronic medical conditions. Part D, Prescription Drug Insurance. In 2006, Medicare was expanded to include prescription drug coverage, Plan D. Part D is optional and available to anyone covered under Part A or B. Those who want to receive their medical and drug benefits from a single source can buy a Medicare Advantage, Part C, plan that includes prescription drug coverage, Part D. Most Medicare Advantage plans include this coverage. This integrates all hospital, doctor, and prescription drug costs and benefits. Persons enrolled in Medicare Advantage plans without prescription drug coverage can enroll in a standalone Part D plan. Part D requires a monthly premium that varies from plan to plan. These plans may involve an annual deductible and usually require a co-insurance payment. Most Medicare drug plans have a coverage gap, the Medicare donut hole, that requires the beneficiary to pay all drug costs after the beneficiary and the plan have spent a certain amount for covered drugs during the year. Once the beneficiary reaches the plan's out-of-pocket limit during the coverage gap, coverage resumes. For the rest of the calendar year, the beneficiary pays a small co-insurance amount for prescription drugs. Medicare beneficiaries may enroll in or change Plan D coverage during the annual enrollment period, AEP, or open enrollment period, which runs October 15 through December 7. New coverage becomes effective the following January 1st. Creditable coverage. Those eligible for Medicare Part D but covered by their employer's group health plans may decline Medicare Part D. To later add Part D coverage, they may have to pay a late enrollment penalty. No penalties are assessed if the group plan provides creditable coverage. The employer's drug coverage is at least comparable to Medicare Part D coverage. If the employer's health plan does not provide creditable coverage, individuals must enroll in Part D when they become eligible to avoid the late enrollment penalties. Failure to maintain creditable coverage for prescription drugs after age 65 may result in a lifetime penalty of 1% per month on the premium for each month that such coverage was delayed. Covered drugs. Although Medicare has guidelines as to what types of conditions must be treated by a prescription drug plan, it does not specify the brands of drugs a plan must cover. The list of drugs covered by a plan is called the plan's formulary. Formulary tiers tell Medicare beneficiaries how much, if anything, they must pay for certain drugs provided by their plan. Most plans have 3 tiers, though some have 4. Tier 1, generic drugs, which are usually the least inexpensive to the consumer. Tier 2, preferred brand name drugs. Tier 3, non-preferred brand name drugs. Tier 4, specialty drugs, which are usually the most expensive brand name drugs. A formulary must include at least 2 drugs in each category, though they are not required to include all drugs. For your review. Medicare has 4 parts. Part A is hospital insurance, Part B is medical insurance, Part C, Medicare Advantage, is a managed care alternative to Parts A and B, original Medicare, and Part D is prescription drug coverage. Part A covers 90 days of hospitalization in any one benefit period, with an additional 60 lifetime reserve days. A new benefit period begins after at least 60 days have passed since the last hospitalization. Part A usually does not cost a premium, only an annual deductible and coinsurance. Part B covers physician services, outpatient hospital care, physical therapy, and ambulance. Part B costs a monthly premium, annual deductible, and coinsurance. Part C, Medicare Advantage, is a managed care alternative to original Medicare, Parts A and B. Part D is prescription drug coverage that can be added to Parts A and B, and to Part C plans that do not have prescription drug coverage. To be eligible for Medicare, a person must be at least 65 years old, or have received Social Security disability income for at least 2 years, or have end-stage renal disease, ESRD, requiring dialysis, or have ALS. A person enrolls in Medicare during the initial enrollment period, IEP, general enrollment period, GEP, annual election period, AEP, or a special enrollment period, SEP. Persons who apply for Social Security retirement benefits at age 65 are automatically enrolled in Medicare Parts A and B. Please pause the audio.
The U.S. is getting older. One of the fastest growing demographic groups in the population are the incoming retirees known as the baby boomers. The need for special care for the senior market will continue to grow in the years to come. You can count on several questions on your licensing exam about senior needs insurance. First up in our discussion is the true symbol of senior medical care protection, Medicare. Unlike Social Security retirement benefits, which are intended only to supplement a worker's retirement savings, Medicare is well understood and well accepted as the primary source of medical care for retirees. And I want to make an important point here. When you study about Social Security retirement benefits, you'll learn that the retirement age necessary to obtain full retirement benefits is increasing, and today is 66, moving up to age 67. But when it comes to Medicare, the age of eligibility remains age 65. So somebody can be eligible for Medicare at age 65 and still not eligible for Medicare for Social Security retirement benefits for another year or 2. Now, when we talk about Medicare, there are several different programs or categories of coverage that you need to be familiar with for your licensing exam. I call them the Medicare A, B, C's, and D's. So let's review them very quickly. There is Medicare Part A. This is the hospital insurance program of Medicare. It covers institutional medical care, including inpatient hospital care, skilled nursing home care, post-hospital home health care, and hospice care. So think Part A, hospital care, institutional care. Medicare Part B is medical insurance. This covers physician services, outpatient hospital care, physical therapy, ambulance care, all the related aspects of medical care outside of institutionalized care. Here's a couple things to keep in mind. Part B is only available for those who have Part A. It is not available on a standalone basis. It supplements Part A. So think A and B go together. Number two, to keep in mind, is that Part A and B is generally known as original Medicare because, in fact, that was what Medicare originally involved, was Part A and Part B. Medicare Part C, also known as Medicare Advantage, is a managed care plan alternative to Medicare Parts A and B. Think C is care, managed care. Medicare Part C, or the Medicare Advantage plan, basically combines features of Medicare Parts A and B into a managed care approach. It appeals to those who like the preferred provider organization approach to medical care. And then lastly, Medicare Part D is the prescription drug portion of Medicare. It adds prescription drug coverages to Medicare Parts A, B, and C. Think Part D is drugs. So you've got Parts A and B is original medical care. Medicare Part C, or Medicare Advantage, is for the managed care alternative. And Medicare Part D is the prescription drug program of Medicare.
Okay, so here's the 4 questions for this lesson. Providers who do not accept Medicare assignments will still treat Medicare patients and can charge more than Medicare's billing limits. Medicare will still pay its limits, and the provider will then pay the patient for the balance in a practice known as excess billing, overcharge billing, non-assignment billing, or balance billing. Okay, I'm going to guess excess billing. Find out in a minute if we're correct. When does the annual election period for Part D occur? And I want to say November 1st through December 31st. It may be January 1st, too. I can't remember all these dates. But you will need to know that for your test. The addition of Part C to original Medicare Parts A and B provide the Medicare-eligible individuals with prescription drug coverage, Medicare supplement insurance, long-term care coverage, or managed care and private fee-for-service plans. I'm going to guess prescription drug coverage. Which type of health insurance plan is particularly suitable for the senior insurance market? Long-term care, term insurance, Medicare plans, or managed care? Medicare plans. I mean, that's what we're talking about. I'm just guessing here, but okay. I only got one right, and of course that was the last one, because that's what this whole lesson is about, is Medicare plans. These are specifically for age 65 and older, and certain disabled. All the other ones I got wrong, by the way, so we'll go through these. So for the first question, the answer is balance billing. When Medicare still pays its limit and then the provider bill the patient for the balance. This is for providers who do not accept Medicare assignments. Medicare will pay up to its standard limit, and the provider will bill the patient for the balance billing. Say that 3 times fast. Okay, so the next one is election period for Part D. That was my second guess, was October 15th through December 7th, which just ended recently because this is December 11th, 2022. So this ended 4 days ago. So for all those Medicare agents out there, for next year, if you become an agent, it's December 7th. No, it is October 15th through December 7th for Part D. You'll need to memorize most of these enrollment things too, by the way. So just keep reviewing some of these videos if you're interested in doing Medicare, which is one of the things I'm interested in doing. The next one is the addition of Part C provided Medicare eligible individuals with managed care and private fee-for-service plans. All the benefits in A and B, Part D, not Part C, cover the cost of prescription drugs. So you got that one wrong. Or I got it wrong. Alright, I'm going to end this long video, and I shall see you all in the next one. Group health insurance. Thanks everybody for watching.